we're
Crazy, right?
It's Wednesday, right?
Crazy, right?
And it appears that we are in the studio, right?
Yeah, not canceled. What do you know?
Not canceled.
What do you know about that?
So, from my understanding, Anthony talked about getting the lawyers involved about it when
it's always with the lawyers.
When he had effectively locked me out of the studio, and he, allegedly we couldn't really, fully prove that was involved with Garrett's tires.
I have a key, but you don't physically have a key. So it's Wednesday. I wake up and my tire is slashed.
Right.
All
four. So. Weird. But, so, basically, let's just break it down before we get into the show. Basically, what happened is when we re-signed our contracts for the year in December, there's in there a clause that we have to abide by the workplace policy that is set at the Disruption Network. But there actually isn't a workplace policy that is written down guidelines. I'm sure there probably will be next year, but this year there is none. So by Anthony slapping me on the last show that we did, he set a precedence of we can beat the shit out of each other. So by him laying hands on me, which I could have my own personal lawsuit, but then we wouldn't have a show, and I chose to go forth with the shows, because this is my passion, this is my love. And before I go on, look at the beard now with the hair. God. Oh.
Want to see the back?
Look at, oh my God, those Garrett, jeez. Anyway, so he effectively opened up the door for the ass kicking that happened. But... Here, give me the one shot. I have to.
Oh, no problem.
I have to say something.
Yeah. Let's do this.
To Anthony.
Do it up,
Anthony. Joe Stones, have to say that I'm very, very solemnly sorry. I'm sorry that you are a narcissistic, egotistical, blubbering, baby back, no bald bozo. You think that I care about the belt. I gave all that up. The belt means absolutely nothing to me anymore. This is all about respect. You've done a wonderful thing here with the D. I love being here. I know Garrett loves being here. But it's the equivalent to a Neanderthal creating the stone wheel. Me and Garrett, we're that 8-cylinder Hemi that just took that invention to the next level. And you think I'm going to stand by here any longer and allow you to disrespect the genius and myself? Without you letting the bear come out of the cave? Well, you are sadly mistaken. This isn't a spoiler. This isn't a promise. This isn't a guarantee. Your life now is going to be me destroying it. Everywhere you go, every corner you turn, every show you do, I'm going to be that little voice in the back of your mind. I am going to be the shadow in the corner of a room. Every noise you don't know, every creak of a floorboard, you're going to wonder if it's me coming to whoop your ass again. You got it? You think you are the D-Ant? You can suck the D. Now let's continue on with the show.
Feel better, buddy?
Oh, I feel fantastic.
Good. Glad you got that off your chest.
Woo!
Good job.
So, before we go any further, our sponsors.
Oh, the sponsors. I mean, they make the show happen. We got Rockin Horse Tattoo. If you need ink, if you need piercings, you go there down in New Hartford, all right? Right next to Big Apple. Check them out, okay? If you need T-shirts, you need any type of apparel, hats.
Oh, I got a nice,
anything you need.
I got a nice new
and check out
Wrestle Fandom Movie Madness shirt design.
Oh, nice.
Here, I'll show it to you real quick. I'll text it to you. I'll put it on our socials later. But,
yeah, so definitely check out Seasonal Sports. Now, there was a few things that I forgot last time we were on Wrestle Fandom Radio.
I think we're going to have Fred mock up some of those. Huh?
One of them was that Megan Bain actually had to vacate the title.
Oh my God! Why? What happened?
Yeah, she had some type of injury in her leg again. I was extremely busy at the show. I didn't get to hear, she's got a little limp going on. I did hear the word surgery, so
oh no,
I know that sucks. So
she's fantastic.
Obviously, the belt is going to be up for grabs, and at some point, I can't speak for ICW.
Now, the question I have is, since he has no balls, could he potentially go for that title?
I mean, I would guess.
I mean,
and maybe. I mean, the beard might throw it off a little bit, but I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
The other thing I forgot.
Seen the corner of the streets. I've seen some chicks with some gnarly facial hair.
The other thing I forgot was that they presented everyone with the 2021 awards, as they always do. At the first show.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the show that actually closed out the year, the match that closed out the year, the one between Taxia, the Stetsons, and Garrett Holiday, is the one that won match of the year because it, obviously, like I said, they brought the house down. So they won match of the year, and then Shane Stetson won breakout star of the year. All right?
Well, of course he did.
Mike Skyros, ironically, won Superstar of the Year, then on the same show that he cashed in and took the belt with. And then for the second year in a row, Blaze Haram won Most Hated Superstar.
I mean, I think he probably should win Most Hated Person.
So yeah. So we will
I mean, he's like, well, we've had him here. Like, he is... He's just.
I know you argued with.
He's a despicable dude. Like, I don't like him personally. He's great at what he does. Don't get me wrong. Personally, he can go somewhere and go hang out with Z for all I care. Okay, but he's a special person for what he does. But he's kind of like. And I mean this in the best possible way, but he kind of reminds me of that guy that is currently the head of a country doing things to other countries, and I'm not going to say his name on here, but you know what I'm saying.
Extreme, but all right. So then the next show for ICW, March 19th, it's Schenectady Boys and Girls Club. All right.
Ooh.
So. You want to get to that? Swoggle will be there, a.k.a. Hornswoggle.
What's the date on that?
March 19th.
Ooh.
Saturday, March 19th. Boys and Girls Club, Schenectady. All right? You want to be there. All right?
Hornswoggle, guys.
We'll have the full card. It's going to be fantastic. Obviously they release little by little, so we'll know, when I know, we always relay the info.
We pass it along.
All right? And with that, there's tons of news in wrestling.
Oh, my God. There's a whole bunch.
Chavo Guerrero was quietly taken off of the active roster list, and that's how he found out that I guess he doesn't have a job.
Which is
which is weird. I wouldn't fire Chavo Guerrero, but so there's that. What else? Cain Velasquez is in prison or is in jail. Or
so this story.
I didn't even read the whole the why, but it's just crazy.
Okay, so I had a talk with a friend of mine at work about this last night. So initially, it was just reported that Cain Velasquez was arrested for attempted murder for shooting somebody. Now, as yesterday and today, as more news rolled out, apparently and I don't know the exact circumstances of how they were in the presence of each other, okay? But the person, allegedly, that Cain Velasquez shot was the man who was just charged with molesting a close personal family member of Cain Velasquez. I believe I heard nephew. So it's not like Cain Velasquez just was out at the club and shot at somebody.
At the same time, like, he's Kane. Why didn't he just, like, walk up and beat the absolute crap out of the guy? You know what I mean? Like you know, I mean, because obviously you could have been, but, like, shooting at someone, even shooting at somebody or even flashing a gun at somebody is taken so much more, you know, like, serious than walking up. And, I mean, okay, yeah, if that guy's even rumored to have done that, beat the crap out of him. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Absolutely do it. You know, but, like, it's when the gun comes into perspective, whether you know it's legal or not, it becomes a bigger issue. Like he should. There's
so many factors. There's so many factors to this, and like, let's be honest. The man is a former UFC champion. He's he made a decent little paycheck for WWE last year. Yeah, it was. But as we all know, when you have these athletes, especially athletes who take so many blows to the head, they might not necessarily be processing or thinking things through the same way where you or I might. And, like, I don't know if Cain Velasquez grew up in a gang background, and this is where he's from.
I don't know anything about him.
They handled things, like, but like that's the thing too. Like you shot somebody trying to kill him, and you missed, and you are legally registered as a lethal weapon. It's sad because I know how I would feel if something along those lines happened to me, and I probably would want to do something very, very harmful for somebody who did that kind of thing. But I also know, like, there's more factors to weigh in, like, and this is the point my friend had made. I don't know if he wants me to mention him on here, so I won't at this time. But like he said, like, you have, like, so now you go to prison for the rest of your life. Now your family member who went through this is now not only dealing with the traumatic fact of what happened to him, they're dealing with the trauma of you not being there, you being locked away for the rest of your life. Yeah. And it's like, we could probably sit here and debate both sides and every angle of this, but without knowing exactly what happened, because, like, it's a little bit different if Cain Velasquez is at his house and he hears that this guy's out on bail, he lives 20 miles away, gets in his car with a gun, drives 45 minutes, shows up at this guy's house, and shoots him. It could be a completely different scenario if Cain Velasquez has a concealed carry permit, has a gun on him, and is out and about, and he sees the guy, and the guy's like, "Hey, Cain." And that's a completely different. That's a completely different scenario. Like, so there's so many factors that play out to this story, and as we hear more, we'll let you guys know. But like it's a tragic, on so many different levels, thing that happened, and my thoughts go out to his family, and it kind of breaks my heart a little bit that like, I know there are those kind of monsters that I deal with a lot of them in my own personal profession, and it's sad in this day and age that we have people that do that, and that some people can't hold their response and let the justice system handle how they should, Right. Other news that dropped today that Scott Hall has been hospitalized. Uh-oh. I didn't even hear about that. And it sucks that every time I see a headline saying Scott Hall is hospitalized, and it's like the same, like when I see something with X-Pac, or I see something with, not so much, Jake the Snake's been doing real good, right? But like with guys like that, I immediately think that he's relapsed into the drinking and drugs and everything. And this kind of makes me feel old as hell. Scott Hall fell and broke his hip.
That's crazy.
Razor Ramon fell over and broke his hip. I have seen this man go through beatings, give beatings, jump from things, fall from things, and he's 63 now. Like he's a little bit up there.
It's it's hard when you think that like all the age, you know what I mean? Because like when you think about a lot of these people, your brain kind of gets like stuck in that, that space where like, no, he looks like this. This is what he looks like. You know what I mean? He's in.
Well, it's like
super
when
crazy shape. He's one of the biggest. He's a freaking big, huge guy. No, he's not. He's a former. He's a former pro wrestler. Now, he's
a former pro wrestler, but then he was an addict who was out of shape for years.
Yeah.
Who's just gotten healthy, not in ring shape, but healthy. No. It's like when I go hang out.
X-Pac is apparently in ring shape, which is crazy.
I mean, the man is. He is something else. He always has been.
Yeah.
But it's like when I go hang out with a group of buddies that I used to hang out with and party all the time in my early 20s. And we all start drinking. And the next morning, I don't feel like the next morning did when I was 22. The next morning, the following morning, the morning after that, I might start feeling okay. But our bodies... Like, let's be honest. From the second we're born, we're deteriorating from the second we're born. Like, we all have our expiration date on there, and everything breaks down. We're no different than machines. If you don't take care of your machine, guess what? You're gonna be in the auto shop a lot sooner than you should be.
Yeah.
And Razor, I hope you get better, buddy.
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy that that stuff like that's like even happening. It's nuts.
Now. Something I thought was very, very interesting. It's in regards to my girl Ronda Rousey.
Okay.
Eric Bischoff this week was on what podcast was it? He was on. It was his 83 Weeks podcast, and he made some very interesting comments about Ronda. One being she's not happy being in the ring. He said that I'm looking at her in the ring, and she's not an actress. She's not. So what you see is really what you get in terms of the way she carries herself. She's not trying to be anything else. She doesn't have the ability to be, so she's very, very raw in that sense. When I'm watching her, I'm looking at somebody that's just not happy to be in the role that she's in. She's not happy being in that ring. She's doing it, and probably for a very good reason. But I don't get the feeling that she digs it. I really don't. And then... he was asked if she needs to be on TV every week. He's like, so I wouldn't change too much to accommodate her presence because I wouldn't bank on it. I don't think she's going to be a draw. If she's going to be an everyday thing, she's not trying to be everything else. She doesn't have the ability to be. So she's very, well, I just read that one. Draw, she's going to be an everyday thing. If we're going to see her every Monday night or every Friday, her stock is going to go down real fast. Real fast. Why would you sacrifice a quality heel in Charlotte for somebody who may or not be around? And if she does stick around, her stock is going to drop a lot. So, essentially, he's saying that Ronda's not a good heel, and for her to have value, she shouldn't be there every week.
Okay, but is she even are they even trying the heel thing with her right now as it is? Or isn't she just
they're in a weird space because essentially Becky's a heel, essentially Charlotte's a heel, and Ronda's in that weird anti-hero place depending on where the crowd
I would
goes.
Never put her as okay, you're going to try and get the face out of her because you need somebody who, to kind of agree with Bischoff there that they need to act the part, but she's Ronda Rousey. What you see is what you get. I mean, he's right on that. So right. You have to take her as as what she is. She's going to come out there. She's going to fight whoever is there, and get what she wants out of it. One way or the other.
But so when she exited, when she was gone, and then when she kind of, I don't know so much when she came back, but they were kind of trying to push her as a heel. I don't know if you remember when she exited.
Yeah,
and then when she was gone, she would send out
face.
Right.
But now you got but now Becky and Charlotte are both heels, so you need you don't need her to be the face. You just need her to be Ronda Rousey. So that's it. I mean, that's that. That's how I feel
right
about it. You know,
and
what I mean?
it just Ronda very much so like how Brock's being himself right now, and Roman's being himself, and it's going over like crazy. Ronda goes over being that badass who, after whooping the bad guy's ass, gives you that girl next door smile.
Yeah.
Like who she's not, and just from the persona she's had from UFC to now, like she can be that tough woman, but essentially she's almost like Wolverine. You know, I got to do, you know, I'm best at what I do, and what I do isn't always nice. Like, but she essentially is a good guy, and for them to push her in the heel direction, I think, among a lot of other things, WWE would be the wrong way to go. So that's probably what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And the other big news this week, very, very unceremoniously, they dropped Cesaro. But from what I understand, it wasn't that he was cut. They were in contract negotiations, and his contract expired. So because of that, they couldn't come to terms. He doesn't have a non-compete clause. Mm-hmm. So his contract expired. It wasn't terminated prematurely, so therefore his contract's done. He can go do whatever he wants. And, you know, like, the usual rumors are going through that, you know, AEW's going to scoop him up, and at their next pay-per-view, he's going to debut, which could happen, could not happen. I don't know. I've always felt Cesaro has been one of the most underrated performers that they've had. He's very, very top-notch. Even when he's hurt, the dude had his teeth kicked out, and instead of taking a long hiatus, he wrestled for months without a tooth and just started using a mouthpiece. Like, yeah. The guy's dedicated, and he's awesome. And when he's given the right role,
yeah,
he shines.
Cesaro should have been champ. He should have
6-7 years ago.
He should have come out of being champ when him and Sheamus were going at it. Okay, when during that feud, instead of like making them do like the best out of the 7 and then putting them as a tag team eventually, I mean they were a good tag team. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna lie. I really, really enjoy their chemistry because, like, they're friends in real life. Right. And I enjoyed the bar, and I thought they did them very, very dirty in a sense when they had them lose the titles at Mania to Braun Strowman and a 12-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah, that was messed up. But as we know, that like the way that they set up and do things at or around Mania is always kind of shady, unfortunately. But he should have came out of that or around that time that's when he should have been champ. And I don't know what everyone's reason. I've heard other people say, "Oh, he doesn't have the charisma to be champ." I'm like, okay, but you're telling me that before now, Roman Reigns had the charisma to be champ? I don't think so.
And that's the thing, like
he does now. What they're doing with him now, he does. But before, I mean, that's why everyone hated all of his runs.
I think Cesaro
wasn't entertaining.
He could be a fantastic face champ. Like I don't see him being like he's okay as a heel, but he's a very good face. And actually, before we continue on, I have to say, Stomper, I heard you're a little under the weather, buddy.
Yeah, we
want you to get well. We miss your presence here. You know, I had to go get my own coffee today. Like it was
a tragedy.
And I don't know. I'll give he's been doing his own thing. Look him up on there on Facebook. I'll share some stuff on my page. But him and his cousin got quite the feud for his little company that he's trying to start off. And Stomper, get better, buddy. We miss you, and I really could go for some more coffee.
So,
what do you?
Another thing, quick about while we were also talking about the with WrestleMania season is I just feel like they just did Big E so dirty.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like the guy he's amazing. You know what I mean? Like what other guy, does what he does, like how he does it.
Right.
Nobody. He's extremely unique. And for, again, because we talked about it before, they pulled the trigger on him being champ because they were worried about all the debuts in AEW, which means,
which makes sense.
They probably then reshuffle plans in, for later, or, just it was better for them. But like, oh yeah, we'll just give him the belt now, and then we'll get rid of him around Rumble. And that's just so dirty. It's dirty. He's so awesome. And okay, now you put him. He lost the title on Raw, and then you put him back on SmackDown. All right, well at least let him get the tag belts. You know what I mean? Because also the other person wrestling right now is Kofi. So like. Who's also one of the best wrestlers that WWE has ever had. Like, why give them? I know they had the belts a lot, but so have the Usos. Like, let's do this.
But they're
I mean?
doing away with the whole New Day faction too, and they did it without even telling. Instead of referring to them as the New Day when Big E and Kofi were wrestling together, they just started referring to them as Kofi and Big E. Like.
Which is also shit.
Like,
it's just
like, I get you want new stuff going, but it just when something is working and working for so well, and even like there's been so many different incarnations of the New Day. They've evolved so much from this wannabe down South Baptist heel faction to this. Across the board,
it was just a tag too at first,
yes.
and then they needed a replacement and put a third, and which is the best thing that technically I know it happened out of an injury, but
sometimes it's the best. Those organic things are the best things that happen.
Yeah, having Kofi, having Big E, just add it or just all in that together, and they're just so good.
And and I know we've talked about this almost in nauseum about this on the show. But we don't. I know I personally don't get what they're thinking. It's like that they're not having anybody paying attention to what the fan base is responding well to, what they like. And I get sometimes you want to do the opposite of what the fan base wants to get that heat, that heel pop. But to constantly just do the opposite and not even get the response you want.
Yeah. It's so, how do I want to say it? It's like they think, I feel like a lot of the decisions by WWE are made with like the idea with like the whole what's best for business.
Right.
It's
funny you say that because I was thinking the same thing.
Sometimes they don't do what's best for business. And when you
have out of touch people, you don't know what's best for business.
I get that Becky 2 belts was an awesome thing, but you could have also not pulled that trigger right then as well. You know what I mean? And me, because I know I said it on the show way back when it was happening. Like I think a better thing to do would have been to, however it's done, like have Becky as the one champ at the end, have Charlotte as the other champ, and then have what's their names, the other two 4 horsewomen, right, as the
Sasha and Bailey.
Yeah, Sasha and Bailey as the tag champs, and then you end WrestleMania with all 4 women standing on all 4 posts holding up gold.
That would be amazing.
That would have been amazing. That would have been fantastic, right? But they didn't do that.
It's simple writing. It's a simple storyline, and fans would respond to it.
You know what I mean? But instead, like I said, especially at the time, like Becky was inching out Charlotte as my favorite at that time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now neither one of them is even like up in my favorite. Sorry, female wrestlers.
I felt like they missed a very, very important beat, especially with pushing Becky. When Becky did the man and Rollins started doing the man's man.
Yeah,
it only lasted for a couple weeks. You could have given the main event picture a break from Rollins at that point and have him in a supporting role for Becky. And the message that would push out, I think, would have long-term resonated much
way better.
more.
Right, way better. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to have people that complain about, like, everyone trying to be extra PC and da-da-da-da. But, like,
there's nothing PC about a man backing his wife. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. But then at the same time, like when the women's revolution happened in wrestling,
when they went from divas to the true women's division,
Stephanie said something very important. She's like, "You're not divas anymore. You are wrestlers."
Right.
That's it. You know what I mean? Now there still is valets here and there, but I think honestly right now between WWE and AEW and maybe some other ones, I honestly feel like there's exactly as many male valets as there is females. You know what I mean? Or however you want to like put it. Jade Cargill has a guy that does everything for like what's their names.
Yeah, I know. What's that dude?
The idiot with the mask on who sprays everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how many like female actual real valets are there? Really? Like, is it like just Maurice? And she's still kind of getting down a little bit. Like seriously, like right now, it's like there's literally even just like more women wrestlers.
And how many times have I said to you
to have him go? That would have been way better. Like,
and how many times have I said to you? So like, oh. This women's match was better than the male's match. Like, they're on par and a lot of times better than the male talent.
I'm still wondering why there's like once that the 1 year that they did the entire woman pay-per-view. Yeah. I'm wondering why that's still not a thing.
That should be at least an annual, if not more of a thing.
Yeah. So I mean, so there's that. I think Becky's the man persona ran exactly as long as it should have.
I agree.
She ended it perfectly.
She's a pretty decent heel. Like, she's not the best. She's not the worst, but like she's all right.
Yeah, but I'm not huge. I'm not exactly huge on the way they're running like big time backs. I don't really like it.
I'm not a huge fan.
But even more, I really don't like Seth Rollins'
I'm not,
persona right now.
And I know you're not supposed to.
It's just not natural to him. The normal like burn it down, whether it was face or heel, was good.
Even the architect stuff.
The architect stuff. All of that.
He reminds me of a '60s Batman villain.
Yeah. It's like I didn't realize because I was never huge on Seth Rollins, and especially after he buckle bombed Sting, and Sting couldn't like wrestle for like what he still can't, but I mean, he's old at the same time. But like, I always kind of had like a little place of like anger and hate for Seth just because of that. I'm like, you don't buckle bomb Sting, he's old. You know what I mean? But like, I didn't realize that his personas worked for him then, no matter what he changed him to.
He was a slow girl. He was that guy
until he got to this because it's so bad. It's just like the whole like the frilly things and like the slightly Nakamura-ish
it's
like
weird
movements that he does and like the laugh and like
he reminds me of the Penguin, dude.
Yeah, like, and like in TV show Penguin, like it's not it's just not good. It's not him being wrong as like the act like it may come up. You know who would do that perfectly? Dalton Castle. Okay, the Peacock is perfect for that. He's essentially trying to be Dalton Castle.
Right.
You can't be Dalton Castle is Dalton Castle. Okay, like that's like. If you want someone to do that, call Dalton Castle and he'll come to WWE and take it by storm, and he'll do that for you. You know what I mean? I mean, if he'd go there, but. It's not Seth Rollins is the problem. It's just not.
Now, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, and
I got a couple more things, but yeah,
the MJF promo.
Oh yeah, where he cried.
Like, so I have a couple pieces of it right here, and like this is something like this man week after week just impresses me more and more and more and more. So he here's a little bit of it. He goes, so he started describing like his football team growing up. He goes, in their hands, they're holding rolls of quarters. And all of them decided to throw the quarters at me as hard as they physically could. And they said, pick it up, Jew boy, pick it up. I went home, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. But finally, I stopped because I realized today's Friday. And that means today I get to meet my hero, CM Punk, at an autograph signing. CM Punk, my hero, the guy I looked up to. CM Punk, the best in the world. That day meant everything to me. And when I went home, I made a promise to myself that I was going to be just like my hero, CM Punk. I wasn't going to be afraid to speak up for myself. I was this 5'0", ADD-riddled Jew boy was going to become the best in the world. Like, and you see that picture floating around of...
Oh, you see it all the time.
And you could tell the crowd had no idea what was going on.
I mean, a real tear and everything.
Like,
MJF. So it's going to go one of two ways. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It's going to go one way. Okay. Punk, he's going to tell him it's real, which this story could very well 100% be real. Okay. But he's going to flip it on him because Punk is going to feel bad. And then he's going to flip it on because they need MJF to stay. See,
he's the best heel in the company.
He's the best heel in the business. They're not going to flip him, right? So he's going to use this, the whole trying to get sympathy thing, to then flip it and be even more despicable somehow than he already is, because it's like, oh my God, how do you make MJF more despicable? Well, you tell a story that's 100% true that actually makes him cry, and then he's going to be like, and then he completely flips it, and then beats up CM Punk more, and it goes on and on and on. But more importantly, because when they're done, or in the midst of it, or wherever, it has to be the Wardlow turn.
Well, so the Wardlow turn's going to happen
because that's why nothing. Like, if you were to then. If what you call it? How do I want to say this? If you were to break up the Pinnacle, okay, and have them tag with each other, they shouldn't have pulled the story thing yet. All right, and they're not going to, because Wardlow's quitting of the Pinnacle, quitting of MJF, has been a really good slow burn. Maybe a little too slow, but still pretty good.
So this is what I see, because I think what you're saying is kind of what is expected. I can almost see them wanting to do the opposite, where you have Punk and Wardlow team up, Punk go heel, and effectively turning MJF face. Because for the last 3 years, we've seen MJF as this heel. And he's been arguably one of the best heels in history, definitely of the last 10, 15 years. He's been perfect. And I know we currently can't see him as anything else but a heel, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What is he as a face? And maybe they know something we don't know. Maybe MJF can be just as good as a face as a heel. And there have been lots of wrestlers to be able to do that.
Right.
And what a better way to generate heat is having Punk go heel. Have Punk doing that turn with Wardlow. That would be effectively leaving MJF with no one. And what better way to reinvent MJF is by himself as a good guy. Very similar to how when, I don't even remember what they were at the time, but we'll say the corporation turned on Rollins and when they gave KO the belt. And when Rollins came back as the Burn It Down.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, the Burn It Down version of Rollins is my favorite.
Even he was still against the fans, because he came back he beat he came in and he attacked Reigns, and everyone hated Reigns at the time, and everyone was like, thank you. He's like, oh yeah, I did this and I did it without anyone's help. I don't need any of you. Da, 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 da. They were still trying to push him as a heel, and like,
but they did that slow turn to him, and I feel like that's something that could be with MJF, because these promos that he gets, the way he effectively combines real life with kayfabe is absolute genius. Like, he's so good at doing that, and seeing him having not a straight babyface turn, but having a face turn to where he's not the bad guy anymore, but he's not the good guy. He doesn't know what he is, and figuring out where that is, I think would be a great program to run.
Right.
And it's one that people won't necessarily expect to happen, because the scenario you give is what it looks like. And even if that's how it does play out, I think that would go fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of ways they can go. It just, I don't know. Because, again, things are always going to be up in the air for, I think, a little while, because, I don't know, I still don't have, everyone keeps saying, it's like the better wrestling product, which it still currently is the better wrestling product, but I don't, I feel like they are always in danger of, WCW in themselves,
right,
and taking on too many people. It's like, oh, they signed this person, they signed that person, they signed, like, in my opinion, all the people that they signed after they were already, like, essentially, I don't know if they actually, like, I wouldn't say they kicked NXT off. I would say Vince pulled the trigger way too easy on that. Whoa. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking Cain Velasquez again. Sorry.
But I'm gonna read a story on TMZ later.
He pulled the trigger on that way too. Saying, oh, you lost this, you lost that. It's like, it was just the new product, and they went after. It was a good business decision. They went after the newest of the shows, the least established of the shows, and if you let them, if you let them win, then they won. You know what I mean? They didn't take the fight to them. It was just like, oh, who's this new big product that happened, and it's big and it's huge, and I don't know. Again, I just fear that, every time, someone is let go or and them picking them up, I think the, going to, Impact, or, trying to rebeef ROH or again,
here's the thing with it. Did you hear like Tony Khan's got his big announcement?
Yeah.
The rumor mill is that he's acquired ROH and Impact and their libraries and everything, because they're going to be coming out with their equivalent of the WWE network.
Right. So what they should also do, though, is have them as three different. So like AEW would own ROH, and that so it would it's like they could become the equivalent of WWE. WWE is Raw, NXT, and SmackDown,
right,
and then they'd have AEW. And they can still have their 1 hour show on Rampage. They can still do this, but then they can take all the other talent that they have and beef up the other rosters and make them better shows. That there's a lot of history in both of those companies,
right?
You know what I mean? And like, I think the entire wrestling world, as far as everyone from fans to wrestlers to like promoters, I don't think anyone wants Impact or ROH to die.
No, absolutely not.
Ever. Like,
what I can see,
you can, by just like the clawing of it, trying to stay, alive. It's like, they don't want.
What I could see,
they don't want it to die.
And I think if Tony Khan, like, if that's true and he is acquiring them, my plan of action would be, you move Dynamite to Mondays. You take, like, the Impact roster, you put the Impact roster, and that is now Rampage. You make Rampage a 2-hour show. You take the Ring of Honor, and you create a third show and replace the Wednesday night show. and you effectively have shows to combat the three, or even if, they combine the Impact and ROH rosters to create the Rampage and take their, lower card, mid card, newer guys that they're working out and just have a streaming like NXT is, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And I can see them trying to go toe-to-toe with WWE in that way, because that's eventually what this is leading up to. Like, I truly think that Tony Khan wants to have another Monday Night War and be the Vince McMahon winner of it.
Do you think... See, this is going to lead us into, you know what? Let's try and save it for next time, okay? So, because it's going to lead into like way too much more of it. It could almost be the whole entire show, the whole show of it. Just again, hypotheticals, of how what they're doing with like the title unification. How long is Brock going to be around again,
right? And
stuff like that. Do they want to? Given whoever the champ is, do they want to start a Friday Night War or a Monday Night War? Because right now, and it's sad to say, but because they were underutilizing Big E, and then if they had kept, what's his name?
Who?
What's his name? The dude who looks like $1 million. I can't think of. Well, I don't know why I'm.
I don't know if you know professional wrestling at all, but they all look like they're $1 million.
Yeah, no, he looks like $1 billion. All the muscles. What's the bald as well? I can't think. Why am I blanking on his name? This is terrible.
A bald, big muscle guy in wrestling.
He just lost the belt. He lost the belt. Brock took it from him. Yeah, exactly.
Not McIntyre. No, Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, thank you. Especially if Bobby Lashley had been champ. Okay? If they took a Monday Night War, they could probably win. I don't know about Friday, considering how good everything, you got Styles and how good Roman is right now with everything he's doing. So
before we go off, I still have a question. So we addressed everything that was going on in the beginning of the show,
right,
with us.
Yeah. Him trying to get lawyers. It's his lawyers aren't any better than ours.
So I noticed,
right,
that this is probably the first show since Garrett and I lost the belt that we have not been interrupted.
Right.
And I'm kind of curious how we are in the studio uninterrupted. And that's just how I'm very, very curious, and I'm going to ask you this, Garrett, because I'm not. You were here before I was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, in that respect. I really expected No Ball Z to show up here and at least flap his little jibber jabbers a little bit.
Oh, of course, yeah. But the thing is, though, is he's not going to be able to get in.
What do you mean? This is his studio.
Oh yeah, I mean, technically he owns, him, he owns it, obviously still, and him and Todd do. You know. But yeah, no, I mean, he physically can't get into the studio. I mean, he can try to. You know what I mean?
Did you kill him?
No, I'm pretty sure he's still at his other job right now. I mean, but even if he wanted to, he wouldn't be able to get in the door.
Why?
Okay, well, it's a real simple explanation. Okay, so he slashed my tire,
right?
Or tires, because I have a key, and what's he gonna do? Physically take the key from me? I'd beat the crap out of Z. Okay,
right.
As I have before. So, and then he locked you out. Because you don't have a key.
You changed the locks, didn't you?
Yeah. So he was at work today when the other thing he didn't think about was that I still have a key. And aside from knowing how to change tires, guess what else I know how to change? Locks. I'm going to drop one off to Todd when I leave. So I'm not going to, Todd never does anything. No, Todd's going to be able to get in here. But if Z wants to get into this studio, he's going to have to kiss my ass. Do you understand me, Z? Think you can mess with me?
Woo!
Do you think Joe was going to be the only one who was mad? I will outthink you any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Let's stay right.
Coming at me. Are you out of your mind?
Now,
Are you out of your mind? There's a reason he calls me the genius. Because he knows. And you should know. The only reason you have good moves, Z, all right, is because you got them from me. And now you're fresh out.
So,
Come at me.
Before we
Try
sign
and get
off,
into this studio. You can't.
So, so Garrett, before we sign off here, I just want you to say something with me.
What's up?
I want to say it in unison.
All right.
All right. So, hey Z, you ready, Garrett?
I am.
You think you run the D? You can suck the D.
Oh, you know what else I forgot? You know what else I forgot? Well, I'm thinking about it too.
Tell me. I'm all
I
ears.
totally forgot about a top 5. How about this? How about the top 5 times that we owned Z? All right. How about when we went to go come back from being on hiatus?
Yeah.
And I jumped him and took the belt. That's 5. How about number 4? The time I took the neck thing off and then beat his ass. How about that? Hit me with 3.
I'll just say that when I effectively hit you after you took next week's off. But 3, I'll go with Local Music Monday last week.
Oh, yeah.
With my
fantastic.
boy Isaac French. And Isaac showed off the D-Squad shirt. Because guess what? We're better than you. And we beat your ass.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What would be 2?
Oh, let's see. Local music. I mean, I don't even know. You know. So, let's see. I beat him up, and then I beat him up again.
Oh, how about when you choked him out?
And then you beat him up.
You choked him out when he was sitting at the chair. Remember?
Yeah.
And,
and then you know what? No. How about right now? How about locking him out of his own studio?
Actually,
and then
we'll table number 1 because number 1 is still coming.
It's coming.
You're done.
Number 1 is everything that we're gonna do to Z.
Done.
Okay.
Because you got no balls. Looked in the backyard. Looked all over town. Guess what? No balls. Z.
All right. Next week.
Friday.
Movie
Madness.
It's on Friday because my chiropractor's coming in. That's right. Travis Goff. He's the man. He's coming in. We're going to be doing 90s at one of the many lists we have.
Oh, yeah.
For all the different types of the 90s action movies. So come in with us on Friday at noon, and we'll do some movie madness.
Deuces.
Yeah. Good luck trying to watch Z because he's not going to be able to get in here.
Yikes.